Hello students, today we are going to start Fiction 1 of Class 9 CBSE syllabus, How I Taught My Grandmother to Read. This fiction is written by Sudha Murthy. Let us know something about our author Sudha Murthy. Sudha Murthy was born on 19 August 1850 in Shiggaon, North Karnataka. She is the wife of Mr. N.R. Narayan Murthy, famous as co-founder of Infosys. She is an Indian social worker and writer in Kannada and English language. She began her professional career as computer scientist and engineer. Not only this, she put a bold step by introducing computer and library facilities to the schools of North Karnataka, and she started teaching computer science there. For that, she got the Best Teacher Award in 1995. Now, let us start with the fiction. This story is about a 12-year-old girl who used to stay with her grandmother and grandfather, and her grandmother is 62-year-old. Her name is Kristika. This grandmother is illiterate. The fiction starts with a description of a village of North Karnataka. The author talk about the time when the transport system was not very good, when people has to wait eagerly for the buses, for the newspaper, for the magazines and for the post. That means it was the time when the early morning newspaper used to reach in the evening and when the magazines come one day late. This 12-year-old girl is none other than the author Sudha Murthy. At that time, when this author was 12-year-old, at that time one of the most famous author was Triveni. Triveni was her pen name. Her real name was Anasuya Shankar. Her novel Kashi Yatra was presented as a serial in the magazine Karamveer. That lady, that grand old lady, used to read that novel, but she was illiterate. Now the question is, how come that lady read the magazine? Yes, the answer is this 12-year-old girl. She was the one who used to read the novel on every Wednesday for her grandmother. Now, the question is, why was Kristika attracted to novel? Because that novel contains the story of another old man, another old woman who desires to go to Kashi, or we can say Varanasi, or most commonly it is called as Banaras. Side by side played the role of an orphan girl who fall in love with a guy, but she was not having the money to get married. So this lady, she spent all her savings to that girl to get her married, because she believed that the only happiness is in the happiness of that orphan girl, rather than worshipping Lord Vishweshwara. Now, we can see that there is a story inside a story. We started with a description of a 12-year-old girl who used to live with Kristika. And inside that, there is a story of Triveni, her popular magazine Karamveer. The question was, how come she read the newspaper? How come she read the magazine when she was illiterate? I told you this was the 12-year-old girl. So then comes the time when this girl went for a wedding to the neighboring village. She went there to attend a wedding, but then Karamveer came as usual. The Wednesday came and Karamveer was in the hand of the grand old lady. She was unable to understand a single word. She rubbed her fingers on the words of the magazine, but it was impossible for her to read. This feeling of being illiterate, this feeling of being dependent, ate her soul entirely. So when the girl came back, she saw tears in the eyes of her grandmother. When she asked her grandmother why was she crying, then she told her the entire story of how the Karamveer came and how she felt very bad when she could not read a single word. Now, the old lady was determined to study. She wanted to learn the alphabets of Kannada at the age of 62 years. This was shocking for that 12-year-old. She She was not able to understand why her why her grandmother wants to study at this age, when she's having the wrinkles, when her skin is losing, when she's putting on the spectacles. But nobody could stop Kristika. She started taking tuitions from her granddaughter, and she declared a deadline. She kept the deadline of Dashera festival in the Saraswati Puja. Till that day, she wanted to read the novel on her own. So that day arrived. Dashera festival arrived. She was ready to read the novel. Girl gifted her grandmother the same novel, Kashi Yatra, written by Sudha Murthy. And her grandmother, she gifted her a material of frock. Then something unusual happened, and that was that grandmother touched the feet of her granddaughter. Granddaughter was surprised to see that. She was surprised to see why the elder is touching her feet. She asked the question from her grandmother. Then grandmother replied, "Daughter, today you are not my daughter. Today you are not my granddaughter. Today you are my teacher." And it is written in our scriptures that we ought to respect our elders and teachers. And then when she read the novel, when she completed her novel on her own, granddaughter, she declared that her grandmother has succeeded with flying colors. She is now literate.